Are Americans specifically obsessed with their ethnicity? Hi, I'm Nick Shell with Family Friendly Daddy Blog, and I'm starting to believe that is somewhat true. I read the comments, and I always think when I make a video, all I'm doing is starting a conversation, but the comments carry out that conversation and show that that conversation is relevant. And something that I'm seeing pop up, knowing that so many of the people who watch these MyHeritage videos that I make, so many of those people are not Americans. And I openly admit and regularly talk about the fact I'm American. Therefore, I've got a certain perspective of the world that is exclusive to living here. Somebody even said America only makes up 4% of the population of the world. You know, so I have that mindset of 4% of the population of the world, even though I have, quote, traveled the world. Let me tell you specifically where I've been. I have been to Ecuador in 1998. I have been to Trinidad and Tobago in 2002. I have been to Thailand in 2003 and 2004, and also Korea in 2004. That's my version of traveling the world, if we're not counting Canada, because I've been there too. So I've been to those places. I have been, in all of the places I just named, I was always the minority, right? South American, Asia, Caribbean, which was mainly, Trinidad and Tobago was mainly African and Indian descent with some Chinese. So either way, I was always the minority to all these places I've been to. So I don't want to make it seem like I have only been in America my whole life. I have traveled and I have been outside in other cultures and have loved it every time. Okay? But something I'm understanding about Americans specifically is the idea that maybe we're especially obsessed with our ethnicity. Now, I say that, I don't mean all or most, but I think a lot of us. I've already learned that a lot of people could care less what their ethnicity is. Here in America, they just laugh it off. Oh yeah, I'm part English and part Scottish and part Irish and a little bit of German. And most people are fine believing that, and they could care less. They're not going to pay money to take a test to find out otherwise. But me, I've been obsessed with this since high school, secretly, not realizing it. And then this test comes along, and okay, well now we can have more fun with this thing, right? But is it true, for those of you who are non-Americans, is it true that Americans are more obsessed with finding out their exact ethnicity, more so than people in other parts of the world? And if it is true, then I can understand why. I can understand that we are such a melting pot. We are such a young nation, relatively speaking. And we don't know what happened before people got off the boat. I mean, especially for me, I think my personal testimony here is pretty remarkable, comparatively speaking, to a lot of Americans that would get the results back. I mean, in case you're not familiar with the story, you know, my mom thought she was half Italian because her grandparents moved here from Italy. But the DNA tests don't really reflect that. They reflect that there was mainly a Middle Eastern grandfather who married a mainly Sephardic Jewish grandmother, and they had an Italian name and an Italian language, but there's a lot of story there that we can only speculate at this point. My mom was even saying too how she has come across certain things that reflect the fact that we do have Jewish roots, but we didn't really think about it. Now, we could maybe be looking too much into this, but maybe not. Do you know what a doily is? A little cloth thing that I guess people use to put stuff on top of. But my mom tells me that being the only daughter in the family, 3 brothers, that she was given certain hand-me-downs. And the Star of David was present in some of those. Then there's the fact that growing up, my grandfather, who was supposedly was Italian, but maybe he was half Jewish and half Middle Eastern for the most part, a few other things. But growing up anytime I'd go to his house, in his kitchen, there was only one kind of bread he ever had on the table. You guessed it, Jewish rye. It's the only kind of bread he ever ate. By choice, at his house, whatever sandwich he was making, it was with Jewish rye. Now, could be a coincidence, or it could be proof that those roots, tradition, whatever it was passed down without their parents ever saying, hey, by the way, we're Jewish. Even though we're Italian, we're really more Jewish and Middle Eastern than anything. Maybe that conversation never happened, because my grandfather and his siblings, they were orphans. Their father was alive, but there were like 11 or 12 kids. So, you know, there's easily a lot that got lost in translation. I mean, my great-grandfather, when he died in 1983, he was Catholic or he was Christian, but we don't know for sure what his religion was when he got here, nor the woman who married, who became my great-grandmother. For all I know, they could have had a Jewish wedding. They could have had some other kind of wedding. So that's going to lead me to go back and look at their wedding photo, because we have a copy of it, and try to sort out, hey, was their wedding anything other than a Christian wedding or a Catholic wedding? So it's pretty, that's fascinating to me. If anyone wants to say that I'm obsessed, then for sure I'd say, yeah, I'm proud to be obsessed over this. Again, it's a remarkable time that we are able to figure this stuff out. And we always speculated that we were part Jewish, and now we are able to see that we are. Maybe in other countries things are just have been more mixed up for longer, ethnically. But here in America, it's more of a recent story, and the clues aren't that far from us. So I could totally get it. If somebody said that Americans are more obsessed with their DNA, their ancestry, I totally get it. I would be proud of that. As an American, I'd be proud to say, yeah, you know what? I'm especially proud of and excited by the journey of figuring out exactly what it took to get me here. Now, what are your thoughts on the concept that Americans are especially more obsessed about their own ethnicity and figuring that out, and ethnicity in general, that they're more excited about the idea of it and exploring it than the rest of the world? Tell me what you think, though.